Hello. So, you probably noticed the thumbnail is a bit different, and the reason for that is because a couple weeks ago, Josh and I did record episode 9, but unfortunately, the audio didn't save. I thought about just recording episode 10 with him, and then we just go on and we just constantly refer to episode 9 like, oh yeah, we actually had a genius discussion about this, go check out episode 9, and then like it's not there. But yeah, that joke could only go on so long. But also because there were things we talked about that I didn't want to rehash in episode 10, so that's basically what I want to cover. Like to try to remember what we talked about. We talked about trailers that had come out, such as the second trailer for Supergirl. He and I were super excited that Jason Momoa, Lobo, is in it. That was awesome to see. Um, by the way, okay, we didn't talk about this in the original recording, but I like that Supergirl had the line, I have no people. It's kind of reminiscent of when Zod said it in Man of Steel. Different context, different tone, but it was cool. We talked about the Moana trailer, which led us to talking about all the Disney remakes. I mentioned how 2010's Alice in Wonderland kind of started that live action remake trend, even though that movie wasn't a remake but a sequel. Whatever. And then we talked about like which ones were our favorite. Lilo and Stitch was high up there. Aladdin too, but I still think the best remake they made was Cinderella. That was a good compromise between the vision and I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to like speed through these topics. Ultimately, I'm happy that a lot of these aren't going to be remade. I've watched all the live action remakes in this past year because after like a decade and a half, I grew curious about them. The only one I didn't watch was Snow White because as a little kid, that song, the hi ho, that song was like very dear to me. I would dance to it when I was like 2, 3, around there. I know there was a lot of controversy surrounding that film, but that is not why I didn't watch it. A trailer for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone came out. Ultimately, he and I just said it's basically like watching new people in your old house. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still excited. I hope it does well. Might take a little getting used to, but seriously, I hope it does well. Um, I don't know if we talked about the third Mandalorian trailer. We might have, but I don't actually want to talk about it again if we did. So we'll just say it came out. Um, by the time we recorded it, I mean. Sorry, got an announcement on my phone. All right. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing Embo. That's actually what I'm most excited for. It doesn't look like Thrawn's gonna make an appearance, but maybe he will. Who knows? Oh, that's the other thing we talked about. I talked about how like I'm a huge Thrawn fan, and I read the Legends Thrawn trilogy and the Hand of Thrawn duology, and then of course I read the canon Thrawn trilogy and the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy, like all 11 books by Timothy Zahn and Thrawn. I read them, and he does a good job taking this character he created for Legends and working him into canon continuity. I showed Josh the cover of like all 11 books. They're in my room right now. I don't feel like going to get them to show you. Sorry about that. You would have seen them had the audio saved for the other one. Okay. I'm saying a lot. I also pointed out I like that Thrawn used the Mark Sable maneuver in Heir to the Empire. It's like the first chapter. And then when Legends went bye bye, the Marg Sable was then used by Ahsoka in the Clone Wars, and it becomes known as like her maneuver, or well, not necessarily her maneuver, but Thrawn studies in canon. Canon Thrawn studies it later, and then remarks that it was called the Marg Sable because it is reminiscent of the shape of a flower on Ahsoka's homeworld, which I thought was an awesome detail to add by Timothy Zahn. Like even when they rehashes stuff for something else, he finds a layer to add to it. We talked about the Street Fighter trailer that came out. We're looking forward to it. Hadouken, that was nice. And then the song that they used, perfect choice. The actor that they cast for Bison, oh my god, I'm forgetting his name right now. Anyway, I like him. Hopefully he does well. Raul Julia, that was the guy that played him in the 90s, right? Yeah, like he did a great job, so hopefully you get another great job done. What else? What else? Oh, Born Again season 2 had started by the time we yeah, but we might talk about that since more episodes have come out since then. One thing we did talk about though is uh Luke Cage and Iron Fist are going to be in season 3, which is awesome. And I commented, I want Colleen and Misty back. Okay, what other news? The Punisher special coming. So at the time, I was starting to show my dad season 2 of the original Punisher show to like catch him up on all the old Netflix Disney shows. He's caught up on Daredevil. He finished Defenders. He just needs to catch up on Punisher, Jess, Luke, and Iron Fist. Anyway, but I was thinking, man, like I really hope that they don't forget about Curtis. Like I swear I was thinking about that, and then the next day the trailer dropped, and Curtis is my favorite part about it. I love that they are not forgetting their side characters. I talked about how Task, which was a limited series, got renewed for season 2. We talked about how Avatar 4 and 5 were confirmed for 2029 and 31. And I also talked about how 6 and 7 might also happen. Josh doubted me, but apparently it might actually happen. We mentioned how Wonder Man was renewed for a second season. We're very happy about that. We talked about how a Back to the Future musical is happening with Michael J. Fox's involvement. I talked about how Elijah Wood is going to DJ a Lord of the Rings themed rave in Denver on May 31st. That sounds fun. The Beatles are getting 4 event films. Now, I don't know if it's going to be each like a chapter throughout their rise and stardom, or if it's going to like kind of have that as an interconnecting thread with each film having like a heavier focus on each member. Personally, I think that would be the way to go, but at the same time, I don't really know what the film about Ringo would be about. Like, seriously, Ringo, I love you, but I mean, the others kind of have more material, right? Like, maybe they're going to get 2-hour films and you're going to get a hour and a half one. I don't know. The final Fast and Furious release date has been confirmed. That's another thing. I talked about how White Chicks 2 is happening. Josh didn't believe me, but it's happening. I talked about how the Aegon's Quest film is happening. And this was something that I suspected was going to happen for like years now. And it's finally confirmed. So, yeah. That should be fun. Sorry, I'm looking at the notes of everything we talked about. In episode 9, it says, note to Phil, make Michelle Jones joke. The joke was... nah, it was a stupid joke. Around the time was April Fool's when we recorded episode 9. So at the time, I was in a joking mood, and I was like, what if Peter and MJ got physical before like the whole like mind wipe spell? And she doesn't remember a relationship with him and she got pregnant. She's just going to think that she's like Mother Mary. The Virgin Mary. It was a stupid joke. Apple turned 50 recently. That's another thing. Maul's show got renewed for season 2. Also really cool. Josh mentioned that Filoni had a new trilogy planned. I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been a lot of shows about Luke, Leia, and Han. I mean, I know the comics basically cover those 5 years between A New Hope and Empire's End. But it'd be cool to see them. Even animated would probably be the way to go about it. I mean, you could have Sebastian Stan as Luke in live action. You could maybe have her daughter be Leia. She already did a CGI version of Leia. You could get back oh my god, what's his name? Who played Han in Solo. Could try to age him up. I mean, I get that this is like an iconic trio. Having anyone else would feel wrong, so maybe animated would be the way to go about it. Anyway, we also talked maybe it's about the rise of the New Republic and how there were problems from the start. One of my favorite things to happen from those years is Leia gets outed as Vader's daughter. And it's also revealed who Vader was. Yeah. Anyway. Josh suspected maybe Filoni was going to try to override the sequel trilogy. Personally, I don't think he's going to do that because he has done too much to make the sequel trilogy work. I think like what the Clone Wars did for the prequels, Filoni and Favreau are trying to do for the sequels now. That's what I think, personally. The Boys' final season premiered. Only 2 episodes had premiered when we recorded last time. I'll leave that for episode 10. We might actually talk about it. I don't know if he watches the show. Invincible season 4 has since ended. We'll probably talk about that in episode 4. We talked about Project Hail Mary. Amazing film. I loved the book. Naturally, I loved the film. That Harry Styles song is stuck in my head. It's a sign of the times, that one. We talked about Mario Galaxy. He had just seen it at that time, Josh. And I think my favorite cameo, it isn't the one that everyone got excited about. For me, it was Daisy. Yeah. Weapons is getting a prequel. Gladys. I mean, if anyone's going to get a prequel in that film, it would be Gladys. We talked about Din Djarin versus Sabine Wren. I don't remember what we ultimately said. The correct order to watch Star Wars. There were 3 different ways that we talked about. The first way is, of course, release order. Naturally. For me, there are 2 things that a person should not know if you choose to watch it in release order. 1, obviously the Vader I am your father reveal. 2nd, Leia's connection to Luke. If somebody doesn't know those 2 things, definitely watch it in release order. If they do, then go in chronological order. That would make Order 66 so devastating if you saw those people in the Clone Wars just get killed in front of it. Yeah. And then Sam Witwer actually had a funny way to... Okay, so he was talking about just the 6 films. I think he said, watch episode 1 and 2, skip to 4, then do 5, big reveal, whoa. Then go to episode 3 to see what happened, and then finish it off with episode 6. I can see what he did there. The Avatar leak, we talked about that. Josh said they dropped the whole movie, and I was like, what? Where do I find this? Yeah. We talked about the Jessica Jones return, which at the time hadn't yet happened. We'll probably talk about it in episode 10, which I think we plan to record tomorrow. Um, oh, and I also gave a shout out to what I thought was the best April Fool's prank at the time, which was on the Witcher YouTube channel. They dropped a video called Project Roach. Basically, it's the same game that you know and love, except you get to see it through the eyes of Roach. You know, the horses. I mean, they made a full-on video about like the technology they were using to make that happen. It was hilarious. At the same time, I kind of wish it was real because that'd be kind of fun. So yeah, I think that is everything we talked about in episode 9. Obviously, we went into much further detail. I mean, this is already a 16-minute long video. Just me rehashing some of this stuff. And yeah, sorry Josh isn't here. He was unavailable to record this with me. No, I'm just kidding. I told him I'll take care of it. Episode 10. He'll be back for episode 10. I know it's been a long time since episode 8. I think it's been a long time. But trust me, we tried doing episode 9 for you guys. The audio didn't save, as I said. Very sad about that. Okay. We plan to record episode 10 tomorrow, so see you tomorrow. All right. Peace. Now, how do I stop this recording?